So this is the first video for my musical channel, and I realized I knew shit of music, but I definitely know about my own life. And as I was scavenging some old pictures of my college years, I found some videos of me playing for my former hardcore band, Ugly and Rugged, HC. That was about 3 years ago when Corona was fucking around and we could still go to small gigs in small closed-off spaces like pubs, bars, and garages. Anyways, I got lost in my own short span nostalgia. As I was saying, looking at these pictures made me remember of how good it feels to gather your friends and make a band. There's something magical in making noise with a group of people. I'd say it's something almost anthropological. There was a time in our distant past that we would gather with our own tribesmen and just sit around a campfire, chew some herbs, and play some notes on whatever musical piece that we had in our hands. And that was pretty much all of our social life, besides going a few miles to the east and fuck the nearest enemy tribe over. And that's a trait that we still carry to this day, making some noise and bashing people in the head. But what does it have to do with hardcore punk?
Chico bateu no bode, o bode bateu em Chico. Chico apanhou do bode, o bode apanhou do Chico.
As I was saying before I got into the violent, blood-stained history of mankind across the ages, I had a band, actually a few bands before that band. And just like any other untalented group of young musicians, we wanted to play punk for the same reason as anyone. Yeah, we don't have the talent, but we can compensate with willpower. But due to some etymological confusion inside punk rock's own history, playing punk post-1980s means somehow you play hardcore. What? Why? Yeah, hardcore. When I imagine myself explaining what hardcore is to my 4-year-old nephew, I would say something like, it's the background music that plays in Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. There's something I always forget.
What is Tony Hawk?
What happened to punk rock and why did hardcore take its stead? Well, during the mid-70s, the most familiar sound you could listen on the radios and TV was R&B, some funk, and early disco. But when it comes to rock, well, most of the bands were hard rock, early heavy metal, and prog rock. The hippie culture had slowly died out since the beginning of the 70s, when hippies finally learned that flowers didn't protect them from being brutalized by the police, nor was it a good choice for a weapon of self-defense against a hell angel. From then on, rock and roll got grittier and heavier, but it also got more skilled than ever, with progressive rock bands taking the lead in the development of more solid and complex compositions. As a musical genre, born as an unwanted child of hillbilly blues and moonshine, rock was even more mature and sophisticated than ever. That was a problem. Just like a never-ending cycle of progress and regression that haunts every art form, rock reached the pinnacle of musical composition that ended up dragging the genre away from its street working-class roots. Not only the music got grittier, but large cities such as New York and London got dirtier and more violent. Songs about sunsets and distant planets and fantastical battles didn't resonate with the youth of the time. They wanted some simpler shit. They wanted to sniff glue, get hammered, and pronounce some profanities to the queen. And for fuck's sake, make something I can learn how to play in a day or two. We fucking had it with a 20-minute song that had more chord progressions than there are Stars in the Sky or songs in the Ramones live set. And well, punk came around. Ramones, Sex Pistols, Clash, Damned, Buzzcocks, UK Subs. A new sound for problematic youth that could be played by anyone, as long as you had all the fingers in your hand. Or some of them. With all the technique and composition expertise to jazz. This is rock and we should get back to the essential elements of a rock band. Hard. Yes, hard. Yes, I know it sounds tacky, but hard's actually a key thing in punk. When it started with Ramones, all they wanted was to play those school prom romantic rock ballads that they used to listen in the late 50s, early 60s. Even when they were playing I Don't Wanna Be Sedated and I Wanna Sniff Some Glue, Ramones invoked that party mood of early rock music, a time when the heart was all that mattered. As the genre crossed the ocean and hit the UK, bands like Pistols, Clash, Damned, Buzzcocks, and the UK Subs each made their own personal brand of punk music. Some played punk a little dirtier, some others played it with a bit of romantic undertone, and some made it political and stuffed some ragging in it. Punk took over the world. Leather jackets and mohawks became fashionable and records were selling, and everything changed again. Punk kinda drifted away from its urban low-life origin as the genre reached mainstream status. As the first-generation punk bands began touring around the world and living their own musical backyard, they wanted to play and experiment with new stuff, meet different and more beautiful people. And then punk slowly lost its harshness and ugliness and started to give in to the demands of the gritty pop industry that thought that maybe it was time for punk to go and take a shower, giving birth to more soft and tamer punk offsprings such as post-punk, pop-punk, and that new wave sound that dominated the mainstream for most of the 80s.
Right, but what about hardcore?
Well, the thing is, you're a teenager, you have a punk rock band, and you listen to these guys and you and your friends think you look cool and badass with those hairs and leather jackets. The media is finally talking about those weird mohawks and BDSM clothing, and suddenly everyone in school thinks you are gay. Punk lost its way in media and was associated with emerging pop groups in the late 70s and early 80s. Wearing the same clothes just didn't make you look like a glue sniffer low life anymore. No one knew about the Ramones. Clash is playing reggae with toy keyboards and Sid Vicious is mostly dead.
Fuck you, you're all posers, you betrayed the movement.
You throw away the leather jacket, cut off that stupid mohawk, pick some worn out jeans and the ugliest and shabbiest shirt you find. Shoes, well, you only have one, so you better take care of them. Now you look like an angry working class man. You don't need more than that to save some dignity for punk.
You're not punk anymore. You're true bleeding heart hardcore punk.
He said it! He said it! Okay. Yeah.
Just like its philosophy, music-wise, hardcore is a purified version of punk's music and lifestyle. Hardcore was born to be the purified vessel for the reincarnated soul of punk rock, free from the shackles of TV, major music labels, and eyeliner producers. To make it sound more aggressive, hardcore drummers played in a much faster tempo, making a sound that most of the time resembled a malfunctioning homemade pile driver. Joined by out-of-tune guitars that played heavier and faster riffs with occasional nocturnal solos that resembled those playing the 60s beach rock music when guitar players were still figuring out what to do with the guitar. The basses were loud, deaf, and frequently overdrive to a maximum, and it wasn't the pedals. The bass was literally screaming in pain. In hardcore, the singer had to meet a few requirements. Screaming frustration and anger, hoarse voice even before the gig, so you better eat a pack of cigarettes, shit ton of sarcasm, shit ton of swag, a few pages of puns to make with Reagan America, and hate your audience. To sum up the hardcore sound, you know you nailed it if your band sounds exactly like an invasion of angry PAs or a buzzsaw fucking a pile driver. Another key element in hardcore is unpredictability, so expect major tempo shifts and breaks. If the break takes too long, check if the drummer was killed or just passed out drunk. Also, play as fast as you can or you won't be able to grab the cold beers you were promised as a payment. Getting free beer is like making it big in hardcore inner circles. Expect unpredictability from the crowd. If they hate you, they will just boo at you. But if they love you, you got a problem. They won't stop hassling you, climbing on stage and share the mic with you, and sometimes even punch you, but that's a friendly gesture. As soon as you get to the gig, you spot some interesting elements in the scene. Henry Rollins is upstage reading some T.S. Eliot verses with a Komodo dragon playing the drums. No wait, it's Bill Stevenson from The Descendants. You notice the tattooed chick. If you spill beer on her, she will shank you. You spot another element, 3 o'clock. Stay away from the big guy or you will end up right between someone's sweaty boobs. The band is trying a few chords but they don't seem to remember the song, so it's alright, at least you got time to hit the bar and get a beer.
What? $5 for that cup of rat piss?
Well, fuck me, I can't help it. The landowner just hate punks and that's his nice and peaceful revenge on us. Or maybe he's just charging us in advance for all the damage we're certainly causing to his place. Alright, you got yourself that overpriced cup of battery acid, so you go ahead and try to make it to the front of the stage. Oh shit, you made a mistake. You are in the middle of a mosh pit with a beer in your hand. Forget the beer, you're just dead. You are a floating corpse, a bag of beaten meat. After being beaten and grinded, you fall almost lifeless on the ground and hope for the worst. But a miracle happens. You just found the most sacred element of a hardcore punk gig. The random Jesus guy. He appears in times of need, helping poor bastards like you to find your wallet, your girlfriend, or even survive an unexpected mosh pit. Yeah, you owe that guy a beer, don't forget that. Well, congratulations, you just survived your first gig. Now buy some merch from the band and fuck off. Well, this is the first video from this channel, I don't know how to end it, so I'm gonna wrap it up with some sort of lesson of the day. There might be some kids watching this, so I better teach them something worthwhile. Well, jokes aside, I love hardcore. Despite all of its problems, limitations, and awful recordings, it's a subgenre of rock that I enjoy the most, even to this day. Hardcore is the perfect music to play with your friends, considering that they have arms, fingers, and thumbs. You just need the speed and the anger, and don't bother about the rest. You will sort it out after the 50th rehearsal. Stay away from drugs, don't bring your wallet to the gigs, and good luck.